This Turkish tank regiment is just kilometres away from the newest front in the Syrian conflict. A few months ago, these soldiers were deployed to the Iraqi border. Now they have their sights on the YPG stronghold of Afrin. The night was cold, but morale is high.
We are here to provide a rapid assistance to a number of combat units on the front line.
Locals here greet the regiment with open arms. Throughout the day, they come down from their village to voice their gratitude.
We can sleep at night thanks to our soldiers. The fact that we're still here in our villages, it's because of them.
It's a morale boost to see them praying for us.
Nearby, a regiment mechanic is repairing tanks that have returned from the fighting. Committed soldiers are vital to the mission, but so too are the armoured vehicles they rely on.
We're fixing it.
We're changing the engine. This engine's damaged, could have really slowed us down, so we took it apart. We've got a new one we're getting ready to put in.
In a few hours' time, this unit will have crossed into Syrian territory. They're determined to eventually reach the city of Afrin.
We're motivated, we're strong, our preparations are complete. God willing, we'll complete our mission easily.
Ankara has vowed that Mission Olive Branch will be swift. For Turkey, the presence of a group it considers terrorists on its southern border is unacceptable, and it's willing to do anything it can to crush it.
Tensions are also ramping up between the United States and Turkey. Turkish President Erdogan says a military operation against Kurdish forces in Syria will continue despite a possible confrontation with the United States. To discuss this, I'm joined tonight by former U.S. diplomat Jim Jatras. Jim, nice to have you with us.
Good to see you.
The back and forth between the United States and Turkey has not been this heated for a long time, if ever. Your thoughts? What's happening here?
Well, a few things. Let's remember what triggered this Turkish incursion, so-called Operation Olive Branch, if you can believe that. That it was the announcement the United States is creating in the Kurdish-held zone in Syria a border security force with the Kurdish YPG militia, whom the Turks regard as simply PKK terrorists, a group that's listed as terrorists both by Turkey, the United States, as well as by NATO. I think that was sort of the last straw for Erdogan. He felt he had to do something, and it puts the U.S. in an impossible position between our de jure NATO ally Turkey and our de facto boots-on-the-ground ally in Syria, the Kurds. And I think it's pretty clear that when push comes to shove, the United States will abandon the Kurds.
Doesn't sound like there's any Russian help here at all.
I don't think so. I think they're just going to sit back and eat popcorn at this point, because it's really another rake hitting you in the face of American policy where we have messed up. Look, Trump said he wanted to destroy ISIS. ISIS is on the ropes. He could declare victory and get out of Syria. Instead, we're digging down in, and Mr. Tillerson announced a new policy, which brings us back to Assad must go.
And Tillerson seems to be speaking with such conviction, number one, on who's responsible for the chemical attacks, but also the involvement to support the Kurds, which is going to cause, obviously, tensions with Turkey, which Erdogan has drawn a line in the sand. I mean, there's an ultimatum coming from the Turkish president. What does that mean? Are they going to start shooting at American troops in Syria?
Right. The offensive was against the pocket called Afrin in the northwest of the country. There were not any Americans there that I'm aware of. The Americans we have, a dozen illegal bases, illegal under both American and international law in the main Kurdish-held area they call Rojava. If the Turks move there, and there's some indication they would attack the town of Manbij, that could involve action against areas where there are Americans, and Americans can be hurt. Are we going to shoot our own NATO ally, Turkey? I don't know.
Well, we don't know what this president
or
will
we
do.
have Americans killed by our ally. That's a distinct danger.
And so the position that the United States is in right now, it's decision time.
Right.
You're either in or you're out on the Kurds to keep the Turks happy. Which is it?
That's the real question, because if we don't back the Kurds up, and if we basically throw them to the wolves and try to appease the Turks, we are being dealt out of the game in Syria. And we basically are getting out because we don't have any client on the ground there to speak of. And I don't know that I don't know about Trump, but I don't know if the administration, the people around him are willing to accept that.
Let's back up a little bit to the Syrian chemical attacks that are taking place in Syria, should I say. The conviction that Tillerson is speaking with, how good do you think and how credible is our intelligence that it is Russia?
My honest opinion, I think they know damn well it wasn't the Syrian government. I think they know damn well it wasn't the Syrian government. When the Russian ambassador says they didn't even go to Khan Shaykhun in Idlib to take any samples in their own independent investigation, they're working from a chain of custody of samples that comes right from the terrorist sources. How credible is that? All we want on the American side, look, Nikki Haley might as well be Samantha Power back there again, is to condemn the Russians, condemn the Syrians, and we need Assad to go.
Jim Jatras, great to have you with us, Jim.
Thank you.